Hi, we've been learning about ways to give a good book talk. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Number one, use a good lead and closing to your book talk. This is actually on the next slide, so you can follow along with me as I go over it. Number two, use sticky notes to write important ideas to mark the place in your book. And then number three, think about what will make others excited about it to read it, because whatever makes you excited probably will make them excited too. Practice standing straight and holding the book so everyone can see it. Look at your audience when you speak, speak clearly, and use a good voice volume. So don't be shy. Don't use a quiet voice because then people can't hear you. And be enthusiastic. Use an enthusiastic voice. If somebody just talks like this is a good book. I really like it because it is very nice. That is like a robot voice. You want to use enthusiastic excitement in your voice as you talk about the book. So today I'm going to give you a book talk about one of my favorite books. It is called James and the Giant Peach. The author is Roald Dahl. He is a very famous author. He has written other books like, and I bet you've heard of this, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He wrote that book. There's also a movie on it, and the illustrator is Lane Smith on this book. One of the reasons I like this book is because it does have a movie that goes with it. So after I read the book, I like to watch the movie and it helps me understand everything a little bit better. The other reason is just I love the adventures. I love the way it kind of ties in because I love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and there's things in this book that I can see are the same, similar in this book. And that's another reason why I really like this book. So James, poor James, his mom and dad die and he has to go live with his aunts. And I'll show you a picture of them. So here is a picture of his aunts, and you can see one is really tall and skinny. Her name is Aunt Spiker. And this one over here is Aunt Sponge. And they live at the top of the hill in this little house. And I want to read a couple things here. It talks about it and how it all starts out. It says, their names were Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker, and I am sorry to tell you they were both really horrible people. They were selfish and lazy and cruel, and right from the beginning, they started beating poor James for almost no reason at all. They never called him by his real name, but always referred to him as "you disgusting little beast," or "you filthy nuisance," or "you miserable creature." And they certainly never gave him any toys to play with or any picture books to look at. His room was like a prison cell. So that's how our book starts out. Poor James. He goes to live with these aunts that are not very nice. And then, of course, by the title, you can tell it's about a peach. So the peach grows and grows and grows to be this humongous peach. And then he goes and he has all these adventures in this peach. One of the adventures that sticks out in my mind, well, one of the things is it rolls down the hill and it rolls into the city, and then it rolls into the factory where chocolate comes out of the factory. And it reminds me, don't you remember Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? If you've ever read it or seen the movie, there's a lot of chocolate in that movie. And I thought, oh, it's the same author, so he's bringing chocolate into this book as well. So there's the chocolate coming out of the factory. And then one of the adventures that I remember so vividly, that means clearly, is when they come to the sharks and they have an adventure with the sharks, and you can see the sharks are not very nice, and you'll find out if they make it or not and what happens, and it's just exciting. And I hope you get a chance to read the adventures of this book, James and the Giant Peach. It is fun to read, and there's a lot of things in it, and then after you read it, you can certainly watch the movie.